Hey everybody! This is a look at a hypothetical couple named Ben and Summer Stevens. And Ben and Summer, they contribute towards their retirement $15,000 a year. Pretty good savers. And they're going to do this for 25 years until they're 50. At which point, they retire with the intention of spending $80,000 out of their portfolio every year, and they plan to be retired for 45 years. We also assume a rate of return of 8%. Now, what we're going to look at is two different paths that they could take, two different scenarios. And before we get started at it, this is a very simple illustration to where we're not going to look at taxes, Social Security. All we're going to do is look at these numbers you see here and these percentages you see here. Okay. In scenario number one, this blue number, I don't know if you can see this blue, but that's blue. They decide to invest in a portfolio of low-cost index funds. And this 0.1 is the expense ratio that is associated with that portfolio. Remember, no investment is free, and so this is the cost that they would have to pay. In this scenario, this is more typical of what you would see at a large brokerage firm, the kind of place that you might see their name on the side of the road. And we're going to assume that the primary function of that firm is portfolio management, the kind of place that you might hear from once a year, something like that. And when you add up their management fee, their 12b1 fees, front load fees, commissions, we're going to assume a cost of about 2%, which from what I've seen is generous. But I don't want to over-exaggerate this, so let's take a look. Over the first 10 years, there's not a huge difference. And when you see numbers like this that look pretty tiny, you might think that they wouldn't make much of a difference. But over time, we can see that it becomes more and more significant. And by the time they're ready to retire at 50, there's about a $200,000, $250,000 difference from one scenario to the other. And this is magnified in retirement. In one scenario, we live throughout our retirement and we have a little bit of cushion. If we see some opportunity that we want to go on a trip or somebody needs, help, we can do that. We can fund that opportunity. The other scenario is much different than that, where you run out of money at 64 years old. Obviously, we're not going to retire at 50 if we're only going to have enough runway till 64. So what they'd probably do instead is they would work longer. They might work 1 year longer, 2 years longer, not enough, 3 years longer, 4 years longer, 5 years longer, and 6 years longer. The difference between one scenario and the other was that, first off, they were at work for 6 years longer than they needed to be. And they still really don't have much wiggle room as far as if something were to come up. And that is the effect that fees can have, not just on your accumulation, but especially on your retirement. This is why it is so important to know how much your investments are costing you.